Well, I did want to say something. I did want to say something specifically about how it's so the more that I live, the more that I experience in this world, the more confusing it gets. But it feels like I'm getting somewhere, because so many things, so many things happen to you. Um, like after after being 30 years old, my life has not gone the way that I expected when I was younger, and I've had so much experiences, like from like beyond beyond the material world experiences, you know, where it's like I can see why people believe in a God phenomenon, even though I don't believe in the concept of God. I believe in the phenomenon, what people end up calling God. For me, it's more like just that there's there's more to life than what we know or what we're told, and it's kind of like it feels more like a mystery, and just figuring it all out. Um, and so yeah, it's a mystery, and there's a lot of unknowns, but when you, at least when I had my experiences of dealing with what's beyond this material world, beyond this physical world, and beyond what I can see with my senses, you get to, like, I experience um, events or situations that are beyond here. And I've been trying to figure out, where it leads or where it goes and where my life is going. And mostly it has been just like if you look into astrology, your life is mapped out there. Some aspects of your life that for sure have happened to me. What it shows in my astrology, and then there's another system which is human design that describes the some aspects of your incarnation and of your design, the way you're designed to be here, and certainly some of those aspects I have seen as well. And so there's like the big mystery. The big mystery is that there's a beyond. There's more, that more a lot of unknown stuff that we can't see, that we don't that you can't see in front of you, you know, and becoming aware of it, becoming aware that, like, whoa, like I'm a creature here with consciousness, and there's a bunch of other creatures with consciousness here, and a lot of them, they just follow, the whatever's, whatever the crowd tells them. Or you're in a religion which deals with those aspects that are beyond us, that are beyond this physical world, that give meaning and structure and understanding to this physical world. Those were never good for me. Those explanations, the religious explanations, were never good for me, and most of them are still not good for me. But they do speak to the phenomena, the experiences of some people dealing with the beyond. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that there's more questions. I don't know, that there's more questions that are unanswered, that are mysterious for me. The more, after encountering encountering what's beyond, and then being here, and then unfolding my life, that it becomes more mysterious, and trying to find the answers, like there's one aspect, especially of my emotional nature. I'm usually not emotional, but I go through periods of of depression or melancholy, and you can't control that. It just happens. Things just kind of happen. Events just kind of happen that you have no control over, and I have to go through it. Um, I think it's mostly true that you can't control everything. Um, the things just kind of play out. I don't know. It's so confusing to even talk about it in a way that makes sense. But I've been thinking about why. The big aspect is why people suffer, why I suffer. Like I've already had like an idea. Okay, why do certain things happen to me? Um, why do I have to suffer? And it kind of just like I understand that as an aspect of life, that you suffer in order to grow and then to have experiences and stuff like that. It kind of helps you understand life, understand reality when you bump into it and you have experiences where it makes you suffer, and and when you deal with it emotionally or mentally, you kind of get an understanding of it. But today, what's been bothering me is why why has the history of humanity has been, with a lot of struggle. Why do people struggle right now? You know, Mostly I care about people not having resources. I think that's one thing that really affects me the most. That I see people struggling to survive for life. And they're poor and they have to struggle, and I just find that sad. Like it shouldn't be like that, and I ask myself, why is it like that? And I know that there's even worse situations in this world of people going through stuff. And the way I kind of answered it in my mind is that you wouldn't have struggles. Okay, there's individual struggles and then there's struggles for humanity. And I think one thing maybe people like like it like if you feel like if your heart if the part you're sensitive to is connected to humanity, then it's like there's an individual struggle and then there's a struggle in general, like for humanity. But anyway, I just came up with that right now. But what I mean is, without the struggle, without bad things happening, you wouldn't have struggle. You wouldn't have these stories. If everything was perfect, then everything would be perfect. You would just be like coming into a paradise, and you would never get hurt. You would never experience anything bad. You would never experience struggle. It's like the it's like bad has to exist. Struggle, strife has to exist in order for these lives to happen. Because in order for us to experience a human life, which has struggles. Otherwise, what would it be? Like if there was no struggle in humanity individually, and humanity as a whole, then there would be nothing. It would just be like a paradise. But the way it exists is that good and bad exists, happiness and struggle exists. And it's unfortunate that right now the the people who have and the people who don't have exist. But well, I hope, I dream that that will be resolved at some point, that we come to consciousness to relieve that struggle, because it's when when a person suffers for having lack of resources, no more than one, if there's just a bunch of poor people, it can't just be me who gets affected by that. It can't be me who bears the burden of seeing that, of being aware that this exists in our world, and that it shouldn't be like that, and yet it is. And it's a struggle. It's a struggle that I have to bear, um, you know as an individual person, as if it was my own struggle, because I get depressed about that. I get depressed, I get melancholic. I it's not the world that I wanted, or I thought, in my young self, being a child still, barely developing psychologically and emotionally, thinking that the future wouldn't be like that. The future is working towards, I don't know. You weren't cognizant of that. You weren't cognizant of all the strife. But I have been able to see strife, the struggle of people. The struggle of people who are poor, who don't receive, um, which is not even needed. But yeah, I was gonna say we don't receive education, but I was gonna say that's not important. That's just like a temporary thing to get money. Although education, that would be universal, not just to have a better living, but just to enjoy, because I myself enjoy education. I enjoy studying and reading about things. But not everyone has to do that. Not everyone has to be interested in that, or is just interested up to the point that they are comfortable with. But education is important because it helps you economically. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is that there's a lack of resources, um, an organization for people to thrive, for everyone to thrive here in this world. And it's been such a problem for so many years. You know, it's like, when is it gonna stop? When are we gonna fix this problem? That has to be fixed, because it shouldn't be like that at all. And only people who understand that it shouldn't be like that, and who carry also that burden. It's not every day, but at least for me, it's become an issue, personally, because it's like, well, I don't want to live here if it's so messed up here, in that way. So it's like a personal burden that I have to carry, to be aware that we live in a world like this, where there's so many people who don't have, who struggle with enough to live, and with rich people who are assholes, you know, who have a lot of money, and the only reason they're rich is because they make money. They just contribute to the system of making more and more money. Um, so, and it's like, where's our value in that? Where's the value in that? They're making a lot of money. Um, if it's just based on material values, then yeah, then they are important, and they make money, and they organize money, because they fund other things or whatever. Um, but these people are so important too, um, because if you can see their, if you can feel their consciousness, if you can feel their souls, then there's no reason why they should be struggling to live, like a struggle for life. Like, that should be an ancient thing that should be extinct. It's like so primal, so backwards in to a past, what a past society is like, or was, the struggle for life and survival. It shouldn't be like that. So that was like the main thing that I was struggling with, and the answer that I came up with is, why is it this way? You know, not just my own personal struggles of bad things that have happened to me that I've had to deal with, like heartbreak or something like that, but also these people that I see, like society and stuff. The bad exists for the good. And it seems like it has to exist in order for us to have a life, like a life where things happen. And I understand, because the way I see it, the way I understand it, is that these things happen in your life and you experience them, and it makes you stronger, it makes you tougher, it makes you resilient. There's something about it where you can't have a story. You're living your incarnation here. You're experiencing a human life here. By a human life, I mean a creature, a carnal creature who has emotions, who has thoughts, feelings, who can, you know, get affected by things, and it's just a unique experience for you as a creature that was created, and here you are having an experience. But that experience, you know, it's always going to be perfect and happy if you actually don't have any troubles in your life. And that's like unique to being here. It's like unique to being here and being vulnerable and being like a human, that you have these struggles that you overcome. It's your own personal story of how you have overcome things, whatever they are, and it hits you. Well, it hits me emotionally. It's hit me emotionally a lot. But it's like I never thought that it would be like that I would have those experiences. But it's life. It's like after 30, life is barely starting for me with actual struggles, and like, oh my god, what is gonna happen? What is gonna happen? Like, that's how it's been so far, where I don't know what's gonna happen with my life. Um, I've been told clues and stuff like that, but I really don't know. I'm like, I take it every day as I go, because it's become so weird, like a struggle, like my life, in my adult life as a human, has started to handle more things, especially emotionally. So I don't know, but that's the theory that I have of why we struggle, of why we still see struggle. And why things happen that way, leading to whatever life that I have. That it's funny because I see it in front of me. I see parts of it in front of me, like where it's what's supposed to happen or where it's supposed to go. And I'm just like, okay. So yeah, I just take it every day, and I think a lot about it. I think a lot about it. I think a lot of stuff out there, spirituality, it hasn't said everything for me. I feel like I've gone more than what these explanations usually give. About life and why we're here and why there's suffering and why, the why of everything. and yet there's so much unknown. Even though I've experienced it, there's so much beyond that it's unknown about why, about the configuration, about who is actually in charge of this, you know, in charge of our lives, in charge of why we're here. Like I said, for me, I see it as a phenomenon. God, I can't at all believe that it's a person with a beard. Um, I think that's not even close. And the only thing I could say about that is because it's ancient and we anthropomorphized, you know, the phenomenon into like a male archetype figure. It's weird. But it still remains when people talk about God, I was like, I know what they're talking about. You know, I relate to that because I've experienced it. So, but it's not a man with a robe. It's not. I would say I don't know what it is, but it's way likely that it's not that conception of it.